Welcome everyone to this week's NIM community call. Maybe we should call it a community call light this week because I'll be honest, I didn't really have a lot of time to prepare. So today actually we're going to be doing mostly an AMA. I don't have any topics prepared. We're very busy behind the scenes with a whole host of things. But for me, this week was mostly administrative, so nothing exciting to share. And then of course we're still roaring ahead with our roadmap for the year, which you can check on the known links. I'm going to drop a link to it in the chat in a bit, but no topics to discuss in specific. So two things bring me to this community call today. First of all, my New Year's resolution that I'm going live every single week, unless something very serious happens, but every single week I'm going live, whether there is a topic or not, whether there is a guest or not. That's one thing. And the other thing, of course, is to hang out with my beloved community. I can already see a bunch of familiar names. So I see Ray here, Azana Braza, Rocio are already here. So thanks for joining me today. This will be very informal. And if you have any questions for me about NIM, about other stuff, then let me know. We can wrap up here quickly and just give you a PO-up, or we can have a marathon of a community call for 7 to 8 hours. I'm also open to that. Please don't do that. But I'm open. It all depends on you, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, let me know what you're interested in or what you want to hear about, and we can discuss those exact things. Rocio, help me out with your questions. You always have beautiful, excellent questions, and a lot of them. Let's kick it off. Oh, Transformance vibes. Okay, I will share the secret of creating kind of fun images with ChatGPT. Sorry, my camera is tracking me, so it's hard to show you the whole image. How I did this image is that I asked for some visual representation of encryption and something, I don't know, I can't remember who the guest was for the community call, but this was made specifically as a background for a community call episode. And then the image was kind of lame, so I just told ChatGPT completely random made up things that make it 67% more ephemeral and make it I don't even know. I just said things like that, like unintelligible words, and there were a few iterations. I just added a few requests like that, and what came out actually is one of my all-time favorite backgrounds. I think it's really damn cool. All right, first question from Rocio. Let's get to it. She's asking, what do you think about UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer issued an absolute ultimatum? He's giving Apple and Google 3 months to install mandatory scanning software on all devices in the country. Well, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to even comment that, right? It's I guess you have to understand these things in context, I think. So Starmer is not doing so well right now in terms of his support. I don't know if you guys heard, but a lot of his cabinet and staff and everyone is resigning, and his approval ratings are going towards the floor. He's one of the least approved prime ministers in recent history, which is a lot to say in the case of the UK. So yeah, I guess tough statements like that sound great against that background. So I will just mention this, that I think this is probably part of the equation here. And then on the other hand, of course, we have this kind of these kind of messages and these kind of initiatives coming, I think, in the future. It is up to us to push back on them. And I think in these cases, we can also be kind of vicious with mocking statements like this, right? So we gotta really show some teeth in pushing back and sort of form a movement against statements like this. So the overall privacy movement is growing a lot. Nobody actually wants. So there's no person on the street you will meet in the UK or anywhere else. If you ask them, do you want universal tracking on your phone, right? The scanning software. Nobody will ever say yes, right? So this is always coming from law enforcement and similar interests, right? So the support, sort of like this innate support, is there, I think, everywhere in the world. You just need to sort of raise awareness and get those people involved a little bit, and sort of explain to them what the stakes are. and get them activated. Whether it's just tweeting or posting on social media about these things, whether if they have a platform, talking about it a little bit, discussing our counter arguments, all work, or just making fun of people like this, right? So yeah, that's my best guess. I hope mandatory scanning software, is not going to become a thing, because it's always like these pushes happen in kind of waves, right? And if once there's an in for something like this to happen, like it happens in one country, for example, then the global precedent is there, and the overall landscape could change in that direction. It's sort of like the boiling frog analogy. So I hope it's not happening. And to my knowledge, I'm not a lawyer, of course, so don't quote me on this, but to my knowledge, in a lot of countries, especially countries like Switzerland, installing software like that would be illegal in the first place. So hopefully, that holds, and yeah, this will not be widespread, and it's not going to happen at all. So fingers crossed for that. Thanks for the question, Rocio. All right. Jason said, Keir Stalin, kind of fair. Okay, maybe not quite. Stalin was kind of not such a great guy, to be completely honest. Oh, neither is Starmer, but there are levels to not being great, I guess. All right, so Ray is saying sometimes politics is so annoying. What's pro-Labour about the Labour Party? I don't even know. Look, I'm not following UK politics very closely, so not an expert. But what really stuck with me, which I think is a great example of what's happening in the UK, or like a great sort of quick demonstration, is the fact, and I will try to find this for you and send it. The government crisis, the United Kingdom government crisis, I believe. This government crisis 2024, was it? Had to be disambiguated on Wikipedia because there were like four different crises that year, and I think it was 2024. But let me just try to find this for you. That was hilarious to me. That sort of gives you a nice little portrait of the state of UK politics these days. A lot of things are falling apart there. There's a lot of tensions, and it's not pretty. Actually, you know what? Instead of going silent and trying to look for that, maybe Sal, who's here in the background, tirelessly helping me with these live streams. Big thanks for that, Sal. Can you please try to find what I'm talking about? Also from Ray, next question. Is there any privacy benefit in using quick or stealth mode, or is it just for VPN blocking resistance? So basically censorship resistance. I believe stealth mode, probably yes. Quick is just purely censorship resistance, and stealth mode, I believe. You know what? Let me forward this this question to the team and ask. I don't want to say anything dumb, but both of these have to do with censorship resistance. I'm just not sure if stealth mode is also just pure censorship resistance, or it has some kind of privacy benefits as well. Let me just drop this question in our chat. In the meantime, from Jason, next up, is there privacy invasive convenience you still love? Well, I mean, for example, I am an Android user and I have the Play services, like Google services, including the Play Store, including all the Google services installed on my phone, which is a major privacy concern, but a big convenience, right? Ideally, if you really care about privacy, which I do, you should really be running Graphene OS or something similar, right? Or at the very least, you should use F-Droid or just APK releases or other app stores, and nuke Google services from your device. But I actually just never got around to do that because when I used to do that, I used to have all kinds of custom ROMs running on my phone, and I used to even overclock my Galaxy S3. I was that tinker, and I had custom ROMs and custom bootloaders and kernels and everything else. So yeah, that was a long time ago though, and now I have a bit less free time, you know, and these things can take up a lot of time, but I still intend to do that. The big reason why I actually haven't nuked my phone from Google services and why I'm still using the like vanilla Samsung One UI release of Android on my phone is because I have a Samsung phone, and to my knowledge, at least last time I tested, any custom ROM that you install in your phone will ruin the camera, basically. It's better now because Google released a standalone, I think, APK for the camera somehow. I don't know the exact details, but actually now like third-party camera software can better interface with the camera hardware that exists in a device. But still, like smartphone for photography is about, I don't know, 60 to 85% software black magic, because you have to get around the physical limitations of such a small sensor either way. So a lot of it is software. And last time I checked, which I think it was in the Galaxy S10 era, so that was a while back, it was just like the camera quality, which is the main thing I buy a good phone for, was atrocious, was very bad. So that's why I don't have a Graphene OS. If anyone has experience on how to make the camera actually work well with Graphene OS so that it's like not a major downgrade in quality, or maybe I'm just like totally wrong and this all changed a long time ago, let me know, and maybe I'll finally be able to do the switch to Graphene OS. And then what other privacy invasive convenience? I don't think there's much else. I mean, obviously, I'm also using credit card payments, which some people would say are also like not very privacy preserving. I also have Revolut, which is this neobank for those who don't know it. Maybe like I'm not sure how widespread it is worldwide, but it's like this neobank comes with an application. You can buy crypto in it and stuff like that. I use that as well. Not great for privacy. So there are a few things. Okay, you know, wait. And the biggest one for me is Windows. I'm still a Windows user. I can't use Mac. I just don't like the limitations that it comes with. Linux, I tried Linux a couple of times, but it was a frustrating experience because a bunch of things that I rely on did not work. For example, there's no drivers for a lot of things that I use. For example, my mouse and some other stuff. So it was a bumpy ride, and also gaming is not great on Linux. But I think probably being on Windows is the biggest. It's not a convenience because it's really inconvenient, and I deeply hate Windows because it's horrible. It's just getting worse with every release, every year. It's just getting worse and worse. But it's like this necessary evil, which I've had a hard time getting over. Maybe someday I'll have Graphene OS and Linux. So stay tuned. All right, thanks for the question. Next question is from Rocio. Max, also known as the vanguard of the mixed net, nice, I'll tell him that, has released a new version with new features. What do you know about it? To be honest, not much. Not much. So I can't really comment on this. Sorry, Rocio. I missed this one. All right. Penny Dispenser says Starmer is an idiot. Apple parental control is already there. I guess what you mean here is that like I didn't know about the Starmer comments, by the way, that Rocio referred to earlier. So the ultimatum that they have to install mandatory scanning software. I guess that's also tugged under this usual sort of scapegoat of child safety, right? Which all of these like dystopian surveillance regulations and initiatives are tucked under. And then, you know, Apple already has parental control, right? Which I guess was just expanded a lot. There was the WDC, is that the Apple event? Yeah, the yearly big Apple event. And they just announced a million different features that are getting added to the Apple parental control. So I guess Apple also feels you know, the wind's shifting, and they're sort of trying to get ahead of this big push towards like, you know, not so privacy preserving like legislation and regulations in the name of child safety. They're getting ahead of that. So I guess this is a fair comment. And maybe, if I can be honest, like Apple is probably doing the best job so far from the companies I sort of follow and I'm aware of in terms of the parental control like realm. So yeah, they are doing a lot of work there, and I, you know, maybe instead of getting bullied by politicians and like governments and stuff like that, maybe more companies can just get ahead of it by doing things like, you know, by creating like possibilities and software like frameworks like the Apple parental control, instead of getting ahead of it like how Discord tried earlier this year, where you know, they're scanning your face or ID with a third party, but don't worry, because they already know how old you are, by the way, from this. So it was just like the whole thing was a big mess. I think Apple is doing the thing well that Discord sort of botched earlier this year. So great comment. I agree. Who else? What else? Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Anything goes. I'm happy to answer anything. Ray is saying, I have to be clear, sometimes using Chrome and all Google stuff feels so relieving, so much more relieving, I guess, than Brave, KD Connect, stopping for no reason, and other such alternatives and non-ecosystem stuff. Exactly. So this is the big trade-off that you make, whether it's supporting the super awesome and very necessary free and open source software movement, which is obviously something that is very close to my heart, or it's just generally using privacy preserving things that are not run by one of the like 10 enormous companies that run the world, so have like major power concentrated in their hands, and also are running the sort of surveillance capitalist economic model, right? The big trade-off is always going to be it just works, and it works reliably, right? If, for example, I'm a fairly advanced Windows user, I've been using Windows for God knows, I'm 35 now, at least 20 years, maybe more. So I'm a fairly advanced user. I can do all kinds of things in Windows, right? I know where to look for stuff. If I transition to Linux, it's not just about like learning a new operating system, but it's also about like sort of getting a grip on this patchwork of, you know, you have this distro, and then you have this desktop environment, and then you know, you're using so you're basically building your OS from components, right? Nothing necessarily in a foolproof way is going to work with all of the stuff that you're already using. Any sort of like software conflicts and stuff like that are not going to be handled as natively as they are in Windows. As much as I hate it, it's true that it's still sort of like nice and together in this way. Like I can rely on it. You know, for example, I plug in this mic, which I use a lot, both for work and also for leisure, right? And it's just going to work in any, like if I plug it into any Windows PC. And if I plug it into, I did try using this mic on Linux as well. There are no drivers for it, and EQ, I can do it with like some aftermarket software that is not from Logitech, but it's gonna be worse. And there are the presets I use are not there. This is just one example, and there's also a lot of others. So yeah, it's always very fiddly with stuff that is used by fewer people and stuff that is seeing less use, and therefore is like probably has less funds behind it and less like user feedback behind it, and it's just a bigger jump to make. For example, for my work machine from Windows to Linux, as a Linux noob, it's like a much bigger jump to make than it's supposed to be. So yeah, for example, these calls, I also use Chrome for these calls, because when I bring on guests, The tool that we're using for these is Restream. It's this platform that allows us to stream to multiple places like Twitch and X and YouTube at the same time. Do these nice visualizations that you see, like bring questions on screen, all of this stuff. And this sort of works with other browsers, but with non-Chrome or at least Chromium-based browsers, we had all kinds of issues. Sometimes, there was just whatever we did, the camera of a guest was just not showing up until they joined from a Chrome-based browser. So unfortunately, these tools being so widespread and being used by so many people also result in them being supported in a much more stable and powerful way over stuff that is more niche and used by fewer people. And this is sort of our responsibility to use those things, right? Which will then gain better support. But the jump is just very big. So you gotta take the hit on that one. Anyways, thanks for the thoughts, Ray. I agree with you. Okay, what would be the worst product to add AI to? Will NymVPN have an AI help bot? Okay, so I feel like the adding AI to everything bandwagon is sort of slowing down a little bit, which is very nice to see. So AI is getting fewer mentions on the various like tech events that happen and stuff like that, which is great to see. But the worst product, I just saw a meme where someone was someone has this smart, what is it called? Toaster. And it was like doing a software update. And the guy was like, I'm just trying to toast some bread here, man. and now I have to update my software. I guess maybe if you would also add AI to a toaster, besides just giving it a screen and an OS that has to be updated, that could be even more terrible. I don't know. What else? Actually, I'm open to ideas. Let me know, guys, what you think the worst would be to add AI to toaster, probably. And that might be it. And then will NymVPN have an AI help bot? Well, I hate to say, we already kind of do. And I'm letting you in on a secret here. I really don't like our support chatbot. I lead customer support at Nym. And I'm sort of, if I could convince people, convince the company to get rid of the like automated chatbot that is run by Zendesk, by the way, I would definitely do that. It's just very annoying and very bad. As for anything beyond that, I don't think we'll ever have an AI help bot. You can tell Claude to like crawl our website and find information on it for you. Most LLMs already know about Nym and the Mixnet quite a bit, so you can just chat with them about us. But us implementing a specific AI help bot, I'm not sure, unless it's some nice, cool, like maybe an instance of some larger, more useful AI model, like LLM model, which is privacy preserving. Maybe we could do that. There are a few attempts at doing that. Our community members from the Tupinim Quim squad had an initiative like that. Also, Nillian, a friendly project with us, they also had their own idea of like a privacy preserving AI model. I'm not sure where those are, to be honest. So maybe those, but no AI help bot if it's up to me. Thanks for the question, Jason. All right, next one is from Rocio. Which neo-cypherpunks should we follow to learn more about hacktivism? Neo-cypherpunks. Well, obviously Harry. I think is a prime example of applied cypherpunkism in 2026. Besides him, hacktivism. I don't know. You're asking specifically about hacktivism. I'm not sure who that would be, but maybe someone like Zuko. He's also great, very knowledgeable. He also did a lot to bring like privacy preserving technology to the masses. So he's another one. And I have to say, some of the big OGs have retired. So Phil Zimmerman, excellent guy, by the way. I had the opportunity to chat with him once. He's one of my personal heroes. For those who don't know, he's the original developer of PGP. He was even investigated by the U.S. government back when encryption was still illegal, and it was actually very heavily illegal. So if you used encryption technology, that could end up counting as you exporting weapons or secrets to like a hostile state, something like that. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was like a really severe punishment for using encryption. And then, of course, he developed PGP. He also appeared in court for developing PGP. And then, as a result of his activism and just the cypherpunk movement's activism in general, encryption ended up being decriminalized. It was pointed out by really great activism where people tattooed like encrypted messages on themselves, and then they were like, okay, I'm traveling with this. Am I exporting weapons now? And some other very like clever sort of like awareness raising activism. They sort of pointed out that the regulation that was in place does not make sense, and then encryption, as a result of that activism, got decriminalized, which is great. And Phil was on the forefront of that, so he's one of my personal favorites. But that's not a neo cypherpunk. I'm not sure, Osio. Follow Harry, and you'll not be disappointed. But you already do. So, who's your favorite neo cypherpunk? Thanks for the question. Let me check comments a little bit. All right, this one is also from Rocio. Sudo, what event or person sparked your interest in privacy? Interesting, actually. It was a while ago. I used to be in my early 20s, sort of late teen, early 20s, when I was getting more and more into tech, like interested in tech, consumer technology, and overclocking, and like building computers and all of that stuff. I was very, very fond of Google. Google had a very cool image back then. It was like this private entity that was bigger than many governments. You know, they were like so smart, and lots of engineers worked on it. It was very scientific and cool and sort of cutting edge. So I was very fond of Google. I was a big fan of Google. And then sort of the Snowden revelations happened, which like I mentioned on our previous call with Claudia, it did get to me. I think by now I understand more how big of a deal the Snowden revelations were and the PRISM program and all of that stuff. But even then it was like, you know, there are a lot of connections, not just with Google, but also with other big tech giants like Microsoft and stuff like that in the Snowden revelations. And I was sort of like discouraged by that, like this dimension of technology that it can also be used. Yeah, it's cool. It's very scientific, and it's, you know, it's cutting edge, and it's like smart and interesting software solutions. And Google Maps is excellent, and there's no competitor, especially at that point in time, to it. And Google is launching, you know, one like satellite after the next, and this is still cool. But on the other side of that, there's like this big this big risk of surveillance, which is not just a risk that may happen, but it dawned on me nice and slow in my early 20s that it actually is not just a risk, but it's already happening, and there are already like massive violations to our privacy. Like this dimension of the whole thing never occurred to me before that. So I got very disheartened by this for a while, and then I tried to have conversations about this in my private life, and all I met was people not really caring. I already met what you guys probably also are meeting a lot of times when you're talking about these topics, which is that, you know, but what if I have nothing to hide, right? I have nothing to hide. I don't mind if Google knows a lot about me because I have nothing to hide. So this was sort of the argument, and I felt like maybe I was overreacting, or maybe I just, you know, maybe people just really don't care until, and this was the next. So I did care about privacy, but I was never very active about it until I found the NIM white paper, which was sent to me by a friend. who said, this project may be interesting to me. And I read the original NIM white paper and I got hooked. So then I realized that not only is this problem also a problem for other people, so I'm not just like alone with it, or I'm not just a prepper or some kind of crazy person, but it's actually a legitimate problem. But not only that, but also this problem that seems to be unsolvable in scale, right? I think by this point, I also read Shoshana's The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, which is a very heavy but foundational work to understand the problem. Not only is there like a whole like movement of other people caring about this problem, but also there is like a proposed actual real world solution to some of the biggest problems when it comes to individual privacy and the Snowden revelations. And then I got hooked. And the rest is history, because that's how I ended up here. And that's why I'm speaking to you on this community call today. That's the whole arc. Thanks for the question, Rocio. All right, let me look at chat a little bit. Question. Next one's also from Rocio. Do you know anyone or project that is working on parental controls without sacrificing privacy? No, I don't, but I hope it happens. Because one thing that is very clear at this point is that the whole parental control sort of child protection, this thing is not going away. And to be completely honest, obviously, we can't say that it's just that it's all air or lies, for the sake of surveillance. It's a legitimate concern, right? We live our lives online now. That includes our kids as well, and it's just of the utmost importance to somehow protect them. But it's also of the utmost importance to not compromise anybody's privacy, which most of the actions that we've seen so far compromise not only kids' privacy but also everyone else, right? So if you make me have to upload an ID to prove that I'm not a kid, then I'm also all of a sudden affected by this kid's protection, right? So I really hope that someone does it, and I really hope that someone does it well. What I've heard, again, the Apple event just happened, I think a few days ago, so I haven't taken like a deep look at the Apple parental control stuff. But from what I understand, they actually do it in the usual like Apple privacy preserving way, which is great. So maybe they are going to be one of the first examples to pull this off. I don't really mind as long as it's a good enough answer to the concerns of people who are sort of lobbying for child safety while also respecting our privacy. So fingers crossed that happens. If you know anyone, Rocio, then tell them to go ahead and do it. Thanks for the question. Hi, will there be a POAP today? Yes, and there was only one community call, I think, so far. Since we introduced POAPs, there was only one where we couldn't distribute it because Unlock, the page that we're using to distribute the POAPs to you guys, was down. But otherwise, we always make a POAP, so there will be one at the end of the call. So stay tuned for that. Azana Breza is asking, does NIM already have new partnerships ready, or are you waiting for better market conditions to announce them? New partnerships, well, we have one big one that is coming this year, or that will be announced this year, which involved a lot of work and still involves a lot of work between us and the company. I'm not gonna name them. I don't think I can. So one big one, definitely. I also heard news of a possible other very big one, which sounded very exciting to me. So like keeping me up at night level excitement. Sorry for not being able to name these guys. I would love to drop alpha on you, but I'm just not allowed to. And as for other partnerships, I don't know of others, to be honest. These are both, especially the one that we. So again, one of these is coming definitely. The other one is sort of like in the early discussion stages, may or may not happen, type of deal. But both of these will be like deeply strategic and absolutely huge. Once they get announced, you will understand why. Yeah, these are the two big ones lined up for this year. I'm wondering if I can say anything else. I think it's better if I don't. Hopefully that's exciting enough for you, Azana Breza, and thank you for the question. Visible Dust is asking, any predictions about what the next product to add AI-powered surveillance will be? The next product to add AI-powered surveillance. I don't know. I don't know what the next product would be. I mean, there are gaping holes in the IoT space, right? Smart cameras and like smart door locks and all of that is ripe for both hacking and also all kinds of vulnerabilities. Plus, of course, also possible surveillance. So maybe those. I don't know, but those already exist. What else? Look, I guess maybe. Okay, I'm making a call here, which hopefully does not happen, but I'm going to make a dystopian call. I'm wearing this watch. It's a Garmin watch. A lot of people are wearing the equivalent, you know, whether it's an Apple Watch, a Garmin, or whatever, an Aura smart ring, or whatever it may be. I'm pretty sure that my insurance provider would love to have access in some way, shape, or form to this data, right? My heart rate, my age, how much I move. I'm pretty sure that some other healthcare providers and supplement companies and other people would also want access to this data, because then they can target me with all kinds of ads and maybe my favorite example is maybe raise my my insurance costs if I don't live so well. That's just not. That's probably the most dystopian things that I've heard attempted in the recent decade. So I think in the next, so before 2030, we will hear about such information being leaked or maybe sold in some way and used for some of the aforementioned purposes. And that's AI that would be AI powered surveillance, I feel like. So that's an example. What else? I guess that should be it. That really should be it. I hope that's it. I don't know. I'm not inventive enough when it comes to AI powered surveillance. Maybe that's a good thing. If you have any great ideas in this regard, then leave them in chat. Maybe we pick them up on this community call. The NSA is watching. Hi there, by the way, or the FBI, and they implement it. That would be lovely. No, we contribute to a safer world together. Thanks for the question. Rimimi J is asking, have you ever used a fake ID in real life, and will you ever use one online? I'll be honest, not gonna name any providers in terms of the stuff that I was signing up to. There was like an ID requirement a few years ago on some of the on some like larger service that I was signing up for, and this was bothering me. So I heard that their solution is pretty terrible. So you can just basically upload, like you can ask ChatGPT to generate a fake ID, and you can upload it, and it will just be accepted if it looks even remotely like a real ID. And I used that. So maybe no, actually I didn't. Someone who isn't me used that. Maybe that's legally a more protectable way of saying this. Okay, I don't want to get into trouble here. Yeah, so someone who isn't me may have used such an image just to show one of their 5 fingers back to the practice of collecting ID. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say there before incriminating myself or someone else who may have used such ways of getting around unnecessary ID controls. All right. Rosie is asking, the World Cup starts today, and speaking of sports, do you play any? What's your favorite team to win the World Cup? All right, so I'll come clean here. Some people will hate me for this, but I have to admit, I really don't like football. I don't really watch football. There is one single reason for this, okay? If that changes, maybe I will watch football. I don't know. But in football, it is totally accepted behavior to like act as if you were hurt, you know, to basically to try to get a fault out of the referee. You just, you know the videos, right? When you just basically rolling around on the ground, holding your leg as if anything happened to you, while the slow-mo like very clearly shows that nothing happened to you. This practice bothers me. I can't put into words how much. So unless this gets very serious consequences in football, so maybe if anybody is caught doing this, then they will be like banned from the next three matches, or maybe like banned for life. I don't know, maybe banned from the whole tournament. Then I'm okay, maybe I'll watch it, but I just can't watch like people doing that. It's just very frustrating. I did Thai kickboxing for a while. I'm sort of a fighter, let's say I have a different mentality when it comes to acting injured. I would never do that, and I feel like that's very shallow and bad. So yeah, not watching football. And my favorite team to win is team no faked injuries anymore team. If that team wins the World Cup, then that team also won my heart. And sports wise, I don't do any sports. I only do resistance training. Basically, I do calisthenics and go to the gym, but no sports right now. I used to do martial arts, like Thai kickboxing and kickboxing. Before that, I did water polo. That was fun. That was my the first serious sports I did during my childhood. That was pretty crazy and very intense as well. And I think that's it. Those are all the sports I ever did. Thanks for the question, Rocio. Anderson is asking, hey, good to see you. Hey, today is a kick. Oh, okay. So, sorry, similar question. What are your the World Cup is kicking off today. What are your guessings about who will be the champion, Sudo? I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. I'm not following it closely enough. Sal, tell me in chat who you think is going to be the winner, and I will share, because Sal is following. Okay, so Sal says, I don't know if he says it seriously or not, but he says Portugal is most likely. Is he joking with me? You guys tell me. I don't know. Maybe Portugal. All right. Ray is mentioning something very important, which I think is a great distinction. Parental control is reasonable. Government control is not. And that's what's happening. Exactly. Yes. Parents should have ways to make sure, their kids are safe online. They view content that is for, that is viewable by them, and it's for their age. No adult stuff. They should be also kept safe from, I don't know, predators and all of that stuff that can happen on the internet. But that does not equal government control on any of these things, right? Parents should be able to do parenting online as well, and companies maybe should even be mandated to give parents the tools to do that. But that doesn't equal parenting as the government instead of the parent, while also like basically attacking the privacy of people who are completely unrelated. Oh, Rosia stole your question. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, sorry for answering hers first. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, diving. Okay, so now, yeah, Saul posted this in chat from our host account. So now I know that the dive is the word for what I was looking for when people act as if they were hurt. Yeah, that's not how I roll. Right, a friend who I'm not gonna name because I don't want to dox them or like connect their online personality with this account says France. I don't know, maybe France will win. I have literally zero clue of who the strong teams are right now, so I'm not entirely sure. Spain. I hear Spain is good. I remember Spain when I was watching football. I remember them being kind of good, right? Spain, Italy, Germany was even good, right? I think these were like sort of strong. Hungary, by the way, I'm Hungarian. Hungary used to be very good at football at some point in the future, in the past, 50s, 60s maybe. We have this this big like national pride when we beat the English 6-3 on some World Cup, I think. And that's still like 6-3 is a thing you say in Hungary, and everybody knows what you mean. So good times. And then now we're not very good anymore. Partly due to corruption and also a lot of other things. Not going to go into it. Not going to get political. But anyways, hopefully we'll also be getting better. Any documentaries or movies to get a cypherpunk vibe? Rosie is asking. Well, there is I think Reason TV, who are libertarians. Some may not like libertarianism. I'm not a libertarian myself, but I think it's at least it's an interesting political ideology. I don't find it very nice, but there are some good thinkers who are libertarians. Not all of them, but a few of them. And Reason TV, I think, is one of the main libertarian outlets. And they made... I'm looking for it. Sorry for speaking like this. I'm just looking for it in a side tab. Yeah, this is it. I'm going to send a link in chat. I think I've already shared this with you earlier, like a few years ago, maybe, on Telegram. I really, really like this documentary. This is about the cypherpunk movement, basically start to finish. Yeah. So I dropped the link. This is Cypherpunk's Right Code from Reason TV. It was posted 4 years ago. It's very, very good. And I think it also has another episode. You can just look around on Reason TV's YouTube channel, and you may find another episode if I remember correctly. And Rosio's saying, Mr. Robot. I don't know. Maybe actually, Mr. Robot. I really like Mr. Robot. I think it's a very good show. And I guess it does have cypherpunk vibes, but it's mostly hackers, right? There's a bit of a distinction between hackers and cypherpunks, I would say. There can be overlap, but hackers don't necessarily operate with cryptography, right? The point of the cypherpunk movement is to put human rights in code through cryptography. Cryptography is seen by the cypherpunks, and it really is this big equalizer, right? So I, as a private person, have no chance at competing with any government in terms of resources, weapons, basically anything, right? The government is going to be much more powerful than I am, and that's a natural source of possible oppression everywhere, right? And human rights are nice on paper, and we have all of these like human rights charters and whatnot, but they are just words. Ultimately, they are just words, right? Which are backed by some institutions, right? Which give weight to them. But you can see all around the world that, this often it does not really play out like that. And what cypherpunks say is that instead of using words, right, doing human rights and writing it down and then trying to enforce it and not actually enforcing it often, you can also put these concepts into code, right, by using cryptography. And when it comes to cryptography, you can set a whole state, maybe like the most powerful, like maybe you can set the United States against me as an individual, right? If I'm using powerful enough or like good enough encryption, which I don't need to do anything special, I don't even necessarily have to know that I'm using that encryption, just using tools that have that encryption, right? Then I'm all of a sudden equal with the government, because, whether you're a government or not, cracking AES 256 takes, I don't know, trillions, sextillions, whatever, many zeros of years, right? Which is the heat death of the universe will happen faster than us with our current computers cracking any of that encryption. So all of a sudden, you can equalize the power dynamics in certain things between individuals and even powerful entities like governments. And this is what cypherpunks use at the center, at the core of the whole cypherpunk movement, is encryption, right? So for this reason, I would say maybe Mr. Robot is not the best example, because that's mostly like a hacker movement depiction of hacking, but there are some parallels definitely. So yeah, that's actually a good call, Rocio. All right, sorry, that was a long rant. I got sidetracked. But definitely, Mr. Robot is a great show. So whether it is a cypherpunk show or not, I suggest everyone watch it to watch it because it's very good. Okay. Question: what's your favorite movie, Sudo? Very hard to say one. They also add Rumimi J also adds The Matrix is the only correct answer. The Matrix is great. Okay, The Matrix is goated, absolutely. The first movie I'm talking about, the first movie here, goated. But I have to say, I think it may be The Big Lebowski. Do you guys know The Big Lebowski? It's I'm gonna find it on IMDb. It's a very good movie, and also it actually led to the founding of a whole religion, Dudism, which is very funky. It's a religion based on the philosophy of the main character of Big Lebowski. This is the movie. I recommend everyone watching this. This is it's not the same genre as The Matrix, but it's a very good movie. I love it. All right. Rocio says, the end of Mr. Robot, my head exploded. Yes, that was a twist on twists on a few twists, twisted. Like it was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was mind bending. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen the show. Watch it today. Start it. It's good. I promise you. All right. Next up, sorry, I don't read Cyrillic, but a question from a friend. Why is NYM price so low, and why the token was delisted from Kraken? Yep, the NYM price is underperforming all of our expectations. That also includes, of course, the NYM team. Obviously, it's not the very center or like the core of the project for the token to do well price-wise, but it's in the interest of the whole ecosystem and the project overall. And as a result, NymVPN, its users, node operators, everyone, the whole ecosystem really for the NYM token to do well. So it's not really my place to comment a lot about price action, especially to talk about any kind of turns in price action, because that will be very unfair and also probably illegal if I said anything about future price action. But just rest assured that it is something that we also keep a very close eye on, right? And we also want the NYM token price to increase. Harry has been sharing. I'm not going to rehash anything that he said, right? But he is one of those few CEOs that is hanging out a lot in our Telegram chat. If you tag Harry in our Telegram chat and ask him something, there's a high chance that he's going to actually respond to you if he's around. And he's been sharing a lot of stuff about the NYM token, stuff that has been happening, some reasons for the price being so low. Again, I'm not going to repeat it. It's not my place to repeat those here, but you can check there. And just rest assured that, all of us are hoping here in the ecosystem. I guess that also includes the NYM community just as much as, NymVPN users for the NYM token to do better. I will say that, the whole crypto market is doing terribly now. I just looked at my Bitcoin the other day and I was not very happy. Bitcoin is not doing so hot right now either. That's no excuse though. Obviously, we want them to do as well as possible, and hopefully that will happen as well. Just a quick note on previous announcements, or not announcements, but sort of allusions I've made to some upcoming partnerships and some other strategic stuff in the NYM sort of life cycle. Remember the automated buyback. So if NymVPN is seeing a big uptick in the number of users, then a lot of NYM tokens is going to be that. So the number of newly onboarded users correlates directly with the buy orders placed on the market. We have an automated buyback procedure. So that's something maybe to keep an eye on. If NymVPN is doing well on the market, that means that the NIM token will also be doing better. Yeah, that's all I can say. Let's hope it gets better. It gets better in the very near future. Delisting from Kraken, we don't actually. I mean, I'm not privy to the reason. I'm not sure. We did have a bunch of delisting threats before that we ended up working around. Right, a lot of exchanges have the concern that that privacy coins. So things like Monero, Zcash, and all the other cryptos that provide transactional privacy are sort of becoming more and more like legally problematic, right? And from a regulatory perspective, becoming problematic. And unfortunately, even though NIM, and this is on our website, we keep like repeating this for a reason, and for this exact reason, the founders of NIM, back when the whole like initial sort of architecture and designs were created, they decided not to make the NIM token a privacy coin. But we are a privacy project, and whatever we do, sometimes we're like badged together with all the other like privacy coins. In the case of NIM, we are transparent. Like the Nix blockchain is transparent. All transactions, just like with Bitcoin, just like with Ethereum, are on this blockchain. But exchanges don't always know this. I assume that this might be part of the problem. There could also be like liquidity problems. I'm not sure of the exact reasons. But native NIM tokens, the good news is that they are still available on Bitfinex. You can buy both native and ERC20 NIM tokens on Bitfinex. Yeah, we also made sure to increase liquidity pools on decentralized exchanges to make sure that that avenue of accessing native NIM tokens is still available. By the way, just as a side note, I would always suggest using decentralized exchanges instead of centralized ones. It's just better practice. Requires no KYC. There's no central point of failure. It's all usually like self custody, right? You custody your crypto, unlike on centralized exchanges where you may get into an FTX situation basically at any point. So that's not great. So yeah, that's all I can say there. Rest assured that we are also keeping a close eye on the NIM price, and we're hoping and also taking steps to make sure that it's stable, in the interest of the NIM ecosystem. Thanks for the question. Lem says, I'm a certified priest of Dudism. Actually, if knowing Lem, having met him, I actually believe him. He could be a Dudism priest of Dudism. What else? We're bumping up against. Sorry for keeping scratching my nose, but I'm like mildly allergic to my cat's hair, and whenever I pet her, I touch my face, gets on my nose, and then it becomes itchy for hours. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is going to be the last question that we have time to answer. So Suckinator is asking, Harry once said he wanted to get in touch with Naomi Brockwell. Did that happen already? And what about Rob Bruxman? I'm not sure about Rob Bruxman, but we have been in touch with Naomi for a while. She knows about us. Actually, fun fact. So Snowden revelations indirectly had a lot to do with me ending up at NIM, but the other big player in me ending up at NIM was actually Naomi Brockwell, because when it comes to like privacy and sort of like the content that get me to realize like the real world aspects of the whole like privacy crisis that we're in, I can probably say that was Naomi Brockwell. I was like a subscriber of hers. And like an avid watcher of her videos before joining them. So yeah, that's just a fun fact for you. I hope maybe she can come on one of these community calls at some point. I would love to chat with her. Yeah, so we are in touch with Naomi. There is even something, I'm not sure. I don't know if I will find this right now out of the blue. But I remember something happening with like Naomi and NIM recently. Maybe it was just some conversation, or maybe something more serious. I'm not sure, so I don't want to commit to anything. But yeah, we have been in touch with her, and we're good friends So yeah, and we also love her work, especially me. And I'm not sure about Rob Bruxman. I'm not sure about that either. Thanks for the question. You can ask Harry on Telegram, though. He will definitely answer if you ask him, and he will have more recent updates. All right. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think we arrived to the end of this marathon AMA. This was a community call light. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully, it was at least somewhat interesting. I came with zero preparation today. That was kind of on purpose. Just wanted to hang out with you all. It was nice to see all the old names, also some new names popping up in chat. So big thanks to Rocio, Rimemi J, Lem, Ray, and all the others for the excellent questions. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Next week we will have hopefully once again a guest. That's all I can say for now. But yeah, hopefully I can bring you a nice, interesting guest, and maybe I can also wash my hands before touching my face before the next community call, and then I won't have to scratch my nose all throughout. Fingers crossed that I remember to do that. Now, with all of that said, let me quickly run through chat. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Big thanks, everyone for listening. Also, big thanks to Salazar for doing the usual production work in the background. It couldn't happen without you. And now all that's left to do is to give you your POAP. Like I said, like I promised, there is a POAP. There will be a POAP every single time, unless the page that we're using for distribution is down again. And oh wait, yeah, this is it. So the password today is who is winning ? Include the question mark as well. The POAP. I mean, Sal is joking with me. He knows exactly my position on football, but he made the POAP itself World Cup themed. So good job, Salazar. Great joke. Who is winning is of course a reference to the World Cup itself. Who is winning? You can let us know your guesses. Maybe you can also go to a Polymarket and bet on the winner. But with all of that said, I'm going to say goodbye for today. Oh, wait, I didn't say the usual bit. So you go to nym.com/go/POAP. A link to it will be shared in chat, and enter the passphrase, who is winning, with the same spelling. So capital W, capital I, capital W, and then a question mark at the end. So all of this will be left in chat. Much love, everyone. See you all next week, and also across all of our channels. And have a great day. Bye, everyone.